From the heart. Lisa, Taylor, Buckhanan, you're only the manager of your money. Jesus says in Matthew 25:14-15, once there was a man who was about to leave home on a trip. He called his servants and put them in charge of his property. He gave to each one according to his ability. To one he gave 5,000 gold coins, to another he gave 2,000, and to another he gave 1,000. Then he left on his trip. GNT. In those days there weren't any banks, so when this rich man left for his long trip, he entrusted his property to his servants. When he returned, he asked for an account from his servants. He wanted to know what they had done with his money. This is called stewardship, the Old English word for manager. The first law of financial freedom is the law of possession. Everything you have belongs to God. You are only a manager. We are called to be stewards of our time. We are called to be stewards of our influence. We are called to be stewards of our health, our relationships, and our opportunities. Everything you have you are to be steward or manager of. You may say, but wait a minute. I worked for my money, and now you want to tell me it isn't mine. Where do you think you got your body to work for your money? Where do you think you got your mind to work for it? Where do you think you got the energy to work for it? Where do you think you got the intelligence to work for it? Everything you have is a gift from God. You don't really own anything in life, it's all on loan. You only get to use God's money while you're here on earth. He's loaned it to you for 80 or so years. He loaned it to somebody before you, and he's going to loan it to somebody else after you die. You don't own it, the master owns it all. It's all under management. Do you know what the sign is that you've forgotten the law of possession? When you think your money is yours, you worry about it. You feel a pressure and stress that you weren't meant to have. Money management is a spiritual discipline. God is actually watching how you handle His money to see what spiritual riches He can trust you with in heaven. This might make you feel pressure, but there is actually freedom in the law of possession. When you remember that God is the owner and you are the manager, you'll worry a whole lot less and focus more on managing God's money well. If you want to grow, sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes the most important word to remember to grow spiritually will simply be no. Your faith journey is a long one, and you can't run a marathon with a couple of barbells in your hands. Too many people start off well but quit too early because everything they're carrying wears them out. You need to declutter because God wants you to go the distance. Plug a light into a battery, and it'll last a long time. If you add 100 more lights, it'll drain more quickly. Quickly drained. Does that describe your life? That's what happens when you say yes to everything. Why? Because you end up trying to do too much. You need to learn to say no even to some of the good things because they slow you down and keep you from running the race God has set before us. This may surprise you, busyness isn't a virtue. God has given you just the right amount of things to do with the time you have. He never gives you too little or too much. If you're experiencing burnout or quickly headed there, you need to remove the extra weight in your life. You need to remove all of it, not just some. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Let us strip off every weight that slows us down." NLT. Weights aren't necessarily bad or sinful. They are unnecessary distractions that slow you down from doing what God wants you to do with your life. A weight could be a relationship, a hobby, or a habit like watching TV. The dead weight isn't worth it. Learn to say no so you can grow, and save your yes for God's best in your life. What weights are slowing you down? What good things are you doing that might be keeping you from God's best for you? Why do you think we feel so pressured to say yes to everything that comes our way? Try saying no to one thing this week that you would normally agree to. Notice the difference it makes. From the heart. Lisa, Taylor, Buckhanan studied master's degree in biblical studies at F.A.M. Institute Bible College and Seminary.